Welcome to another episode of Ship of War, my review of Rush.
Ship of War. When ship happens, I'm there.
Rush stars Chris Hemsworth, Daniel Bruhl, and is directed by Ron Howard. The movie is a biopic about two Formula drivers, James Hunt and Niki Lauda. Now, I went into this movie not knowing much of the story, if anything. I appreciate this film for opening my eyes to something that I personally wouldn't have gone out of my way to find out. And after I watched this movie and saw everything unfold on screen and learned about these different real life people, I came home and I went online. I actually did Google searches and I actually went on YouTube and just read up on these people, because this movie touched me so much with just how wonderful the story was in so many different ways. Like, there's so many layers to this story of these two Formula One drivers, especially Niki Lauda. I adored his story. Like, honestly, I see advertisements for this movie which they have Chris Hemsworth's face all over it, and I feel that's unfair, because this movie is really about two Formula One drivers, not just one. You are going into a movie about two Formula One drivers, and one of them, I believe, his story is incredible. Daniel Bruhl did a wonderful job with his acting. He was great. He was really, really great. This movie overall was a very intense movie. It was 2 hours and something long, and I have to say it didn't feel that way. I sat through this movie, and when I was told it was 2 hours and plus, I was like, really? Honestly, I didn't feel those 2 hours. I feel like this movie should be nominated for an Oscar. Whether or not it will be is up to the Academy, but I really, really like this movie. This movie is by far one of the best Ron Howard movies. It was pretty damn excellent. As for the romance in the movie, there is romance in this film. There's romance with James Hunt, Chris Hemsworth's character, with Olivia Wilde's character. She plays Susie Miller, who was a famous model at that time. I have to say that I really don't understand why Olivia Wilde was promoted as much as she was for this movie, because honestly, she was hardly in this film. She was probably in this film at max, if you counted, like, clocked all her time on this movie, it was probably maybe 5 minutes, if not less. And then the other romance is with Niki and his girlfriend slash person he ends up marrying, whose actress name is, I believe, Alexis Marie Laura, I believe her name was. She was really excellent as well. The romance in this movie is kind of nice, especially when it comes to Niki's character and his wife. I forget the name of the character, the woman he marries, but I really like that relationship in the film. There's certain parts that you're like, oh, that's really sweet, and then there's certain parts where there's like these intense moments when something takes place in the movie and then you're like wondering about the relationship. So I really like that romance more than Chris Hemsworth's character and Olivia Wilde's. I thought they were just a throwaway couple, to be completely honest. I recommend this movie to everyone to go see in the theaters. This is definitely one of those movies you have to see in the theater, because the theater experience for this movie is pretty amazing, especially when they're racing with the noises and all that stuff. At certain points, the noises do get really loud. I have to say, the cars and the engine, like, they were extremely loud. But it's something that you feel like you're there, so it's a good thing. So yeah, definitely go see this movie in the theaters. So that is all for this episode of Ship of War. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Captain Phillips stars Tom Hanks in a true story that took place in 2009, where four Somalian pirates end up hijacking an American cargo ship. This is the first hijacking to take place for any American ship in the past 200 years. Now, I went into this movie knowing the story, or at least how the story ended, but not knowing how it started and what took place in the middle. So going into this movie, it was very interesting to see how this story unfolded. And the one thing I really, really liked about this movie